The Diva Revolution podcast is recorded on the lands of the Kaurna people of the Adelaide Plains, and I pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging, and I acknowledge their continued spiritual connections to lands, waters, and customs. Diva. A podcast for the modern priestess, desiring to be fully expressed to live, love, and lead on purpose. I'm Peter Bastian, and this is the Diva Revolution. Welcome to this episode of the Diva Revolution podcast. Today, I just have the most beautiful guest. We have just finished talking. I can't wait to share this interview with you. I interviewed the beautiful Sophie from Mettaleaders, and we had the most delicious conversation all around kindness and kindness in leadership and kindness in who you be as a human, how to be that whole human, and really taking it into the workplace. This is part of Sophie's mission, is creating workplaces that are led by kind, whole humans, leading people who are supported for being kind, whole humans themselves. So she is creating a kindness revolution. So what more perfect guest to have on the Diva Revolution? And I'm just going to go ahead and read her bio here because she is kind of amazing. I'm not going to lie. So Sophie is first and foremost a mama to two small wild humans and wife to a beautiful man. She loves nature, hugging trees, watching clouds and stars. She is a barefoot walker, squeezy hugger, sunshine and rainbow chaser, and laughs loudly and often. Combining her strengths and more than 12 years of executive corporate HR expertise, in late 2021, she launched her kindness and well-being consulting business, Mettaleaders, meaning leaders who lead with love and kindness. As well as being an experienced HR practitioner working part-time as a senior consultant, she's a certified happiness coach, meditation and breathwork teacher, EQ practitioner, women's leadership connection circle facilitator, and a national mental health ambassador for the Australian and New Zealand Mental Health Association. She is a passionate advocate for mentally healthy workplaces and has spoken on multiple podcasts and events on the topic of kind leadership and mental health. She is also a multiple national award finalist and winner in the categories of leadership, passion, and love. In 2022, she was a finalist in the Australian Women to Watch Awards. Her mission is to create a kindness revolution where organizations live and breathe cultures of kindness, where leadership is from the heart and whole humanness at work is embraced. I know you are going to love this conversation. Sophie and I come from the same city. However, when we met, she'd already moved to a new city. So it's kind of funny. We share about our mutual appreciation for each other, but also we look at her human design, and she is a 1-3 emotional generator, and really tying in parts of her human design to what she does. We even got on a roll about imagining a world where all corporate or all workplaces knew about human design. And anyway, we went down an imagination nation there, but it was really, really beautiful. And Sophie also shares about another award that she has been nominated for at the end of our conversation, and she, as you'll see, feels really, really deeply and passionately about the work that she is creating in the world and the ripple effect that she's creating in the world. So please go ahead and enjoy this beautiful interview that I had with the gorgeous and amazing Sophie from Mettaleaders. One more quick side note before we jump into the interview with Sophie. I want to invite you to the Pussy Festival. So the Pussy Festival is the festival about being powerful, unique, sexy, sensual you. It's about being fully expressed as the woman that you are, living authentically, loving wholeheartedly, and leading beautifully. It is a free festival. I'm running it online. There's going to be 3 masterclasses, and it's really, it's a celebration, and it's a festival, and it's a fiesta, and it's all the things that start with the letter F because it's February and it's my birthday. So it's also a really beautiful opportunity for you to come on inside and play with me. Come into Peter's Playground and get to feel and understand my energy, who I'm about, what I bring, and how you can have the opportunity to step inside the Diva Leader Academy, which is the space, the container that I support you to embody your leadership through the lens of human design, gene keys, and sisterhood, women's circles more specifically, so that you can enhance your life, your business, the service that you bring to the world. So I'll pause there now, and I know that you're going to love this interview with Sophie. So enjoy, and I'll see you in the Pussy Festival starting February 20th. Welcome, beautiful Sophies. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. And of course on Diva TV, if you're watching this on YouTube, but if you're listening to it on the podcast as well, you might want to go over to the YouTube channel and just check out this most amazing, captivating woman visually to look at. She is just like, we were just saying to each other before, we had a quiet little appreciation party for one another about, no, I love you. No, I love you. This and that. But thank you so much for coming in. I just want to dive straight into my first question, which is, the Diva Revolution is all about women being fully expressed to live, love, and lead on purpose. And so I'd love to hear from you about what it means for you to be fully expressed.
Thanks, Peter. Gosh, it's so lovely to be here. And I just love that we were having like a mini love fest on each other when we first got on. It's like, oh, you're amazing. No, you're amazing. Oh, stop it. No, don't stop it. So it's so beautiful to be here chatting to you. Thank you so much for having me. Wow, it's a lot. It's a lot. But for me, leading from the heart, leading authentically, owning who I am as a whole human, showing up in all my color, all my rainbows, all my loud laughs. Sometimes I snort laugh, owning all of that, and really being unapologetic in setting boundaries, really clear boundaries around my own energy, what I will and won't give out, and what I will and won't receive. And so for a long time, and I think a lot of humans in general, not just women, but a lot of people tend to have quite porous boundaries around, they will change themselves to adapt potentially to their surroundings, to other humans. They'll bend to other people's needs more than potentially they have to. And so for me, it's about being really strong in my boundaries and showing up as me and being unapologetic about that in everything I do.
I love that. And another reason why we instantly fell in love with each other is because, not even lying.
No, not at all. It was, I actually said to my best friend, this is just an aside, I said, she's just so lush. I just want to keep looking at her. She's just amazing. And I just want to follow her. And when you asked me to be on the podcast, I'm like, it's a hell yes.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you. And obviously the feeling's mutual. Key things that you just said then I want to highlight, because again, just the who you be in the world and what you're creating in the world just so beautifully aligns with the Diva Revolution, you know, like the three core pieces of it for me are: one, live authentically, you know, and I think you said that in your own words, really, and love wholeheartedly, you know, and like it's wholeheartedly, and I love that word because it's all encompassing, all of who I am, and like you said, all my glitter and rainbows, and just love wholeheartedly. And then the third one for me is lead beautifully. And
gorgeous.
Yeah, and it's like beauty is more than skin deep, you know, and we could have a whole conversation of about the word beauty. But I would love to also share with you, actually, before we go on, I do want to let the viewers know your human design type. Do you know your human design at all?
Look, you know, so this is probably actually in my human design. So one of my friends does human design, and she's like, oh, you're this. I'm not going to share it because then you can talk about it. But I was like, I don't know what that means. And she sent me the whole report, and I'm details, schmetails kind of human. And I just went, oh, can you tell me what that means? And then we kind of never went on from that. So I'm super interested to go through this process.
Yeah, right. I love it. I love it. Beautiful. So you are an emotional 1-3 generator in human design speak. So you're probably like, yeah, what?
Yes, definitely emotional probably resonates.
Well, for those of you playing along at home who know a bit about human design, you will get that. But we'll explore what that means more as you speak into your journey. But essentially, a generator is in the Diva Leader archetype system, your leadership archetype is the Maven. And the Maven is all about being the expert and the feminine expert about the thing that you are most passionate about.
Wow.
And your passion comes from living fully in your body, being really connected to your body.
So
and
true.
She holds all of the wisdom. And it's for generators, it's a very felt sense. And also for generators, you have this beautiful aura that makes people feel safe.
Oh, I'm actually going to look at me. I'm going to get emotional about that. Funnily, you know, I feel that deeply. I feel that so deeply because that really resonates with what I do and what I want to be putting out into the world. So yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. Wow, just that's the tip of the iceberg.
Tell me more about me.
Well, yeah. Well, I would love to, we'll definitely circle back to more human design stuff, but I would love to talk a little bit about, you describe yourself as having high functioning anxiety. And so I would love for you to just talk to us more about that.
It's really interesting because I think when we think about mental illness, we think about, you know, a particular diagnosis that then labels us for our entire life. And for me, it's not so much a label. It's actually part of who I am and how I express myself. So high functioning anxiety from my perspective, because I've kind of probably morphed it a bit to fit with the way that I want to live and lead in the world, means that I have high expectations, super high expectations of not only others, but myself. I care deeply for other human beings. And I also, which I've had to work on, and it's, you know, it's a process, it will never change, but it will, you know, hopefully ease a little, caring about what other people think and feel about me, and then ruminating on that. But then I have this ability to be high functioning about it. So on the exterior, I'm a high performing senior HR consultant. I'm a high performing, you know, CEO of my own wellbeing consultancy. I have, you know, so much energy and excitement when I'm connecting with people and when I'm creating and being enthusiastic about life in general. And yet what happens with that often is that I feel quite depleted after. So the anxiety, so the energy levels can get quite heightened. And so I have to be super careful about, and I love that you said it's about, I need to be in my body, because we may loop back to that. I'm not sure, because this is quite a, we're in flow at the moment. But for me, being in nature and embodying feelings of being grounded and in my body have been super important to be able to be high functioning. Otherwise, I would just be a ball of anxiety. So I think people, when you have a diagnosis around anything really, it's then, in my opinion, to make that work for you, and it's happening for you rather than to you. And how can you create the support systems and the ways in which you can then make sure that that impacts you more in a positive way than potentially a negative way. So you wouldn't think on the outside that I have any kind of mental illness. And a lot of people say to me, oh my gosh, but you're so confident, and I don't know how you can get up on stage, and how do you, you connect with people really easily, and you can handle multiple projects. But I haven't always been that person. And so it's been a journey of, how do I really create the life that I want, knowing that this is part of me forever, but making it work for me rather than throwing my hands in the air and saying it's all too hard.
Thank you for sharing that. I'd love to ask, what was because obviously you have a really beautiful self-awareness, and I so resonate with it not being a label. High functioning anxiety is a part of your identity. And one of my kids is autistic.
Wow.
And so he doesn't suffer with autism.
No.
He's an autistic person.
Yeah.
That's his identity, part of his identity.
Yes.
And so it's just these beautiful reframes that are so important. And the language that we use as well is so important. So I picked up on that, and I really honor you and celebrate you in that, because it weaves into that part of us that cultivates self-acceptance, accepting all parts of ourselves. And so you mentioned you haven't always been like, I think people want to refer to it as, oh, she's really got her shit together.
Yeah. I still don't have my shit together.
I know, it's such a fallacy, isn't it? It's like, oh, I don't know, I'm like a hot mess who's, doing her best. And like, maybe we all are, right? And that's okay.
It is.
But I'd love
human.
to know. Hello. But I'd love to know, like, what was the catalyst? Because obviously you had to create an inner transformation. And again, the Diva Revolution, the word revolution is changing the world from the inside out. This is the meaning I've attached to that. And so you're the one who has to create the inner transformation in order to create that transformation outside of you. So what, if you don't mind me asking, what was the catalyst? Because I generally find when people are very purpose driven like yourself, I generally find there's a backstory. And there's a reason why you are doing exactly what you're doing. And I can, number one, I can see it in your human design chart and your gene keys profile. But generally when we look at that, it's often a big confirmation for people. And it's like, oh, that's why. Oh yeah, that's me. And circling back to something you said originally about giving yourself permission to be all of who you are.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's a center in your human design, the G center, which is all about identity, purpose, and direction. And yours is defined. And those of us with a defined G center, our story or our challenge is, will you accept all of me?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I know there was a lot in what I just said.
There was,
I have a habit of doing that.
My brain's just processing all of that because there is. I was like, yes.
I know. So
could you see my face just, and my brain's just like ticking away here? Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Honestly, I try and stop myself, but I can't.
No, I
I'm a
love
self-projected projector. I mean, I talk and I talk and I talk. But let me I'll go back to my first point and ask you, what was the catalyst for your inner transformation?
There were probably steps on the journey rather than one particular event. And I think it probably stems from me being an only child, to be honest, and born into a family where I was very, very loved, but also was brought up, you know, to, in certain parts of my life, to be seen but not heard. That as an expectation that I would perform and do well, being the only child, that I would go through school and succeed. And this is through no fault of my family, obviously. Like, I don't, you know, adore my family. I'm really close with them. But I think when you are the sole human and the sole focus within a family where you are it, kind of thing, and mum and dad took, I don't know, 8 years to have me, and multiple miscarriages, and so I think from that it really showed me that if you succeed and you do the right thing and you fit in and you mold yourself to whatever situation you're in, then you will succeed. You will be liked. You will be approved of, and you will not stand out, because I'm thinking about, I've spent my life standing out in the way that I have performed, but not in the way that I have shown up, if that makes sense. So the journey for me has been bringing those two things together of, how do I know that I can succeed. I know that I can do things I love and do them well. I know that I can connect with humans on a very deep level very quickly, and I love doing that, and it sets me on fire. Like, I love it. But how do I, in that process, be me? And so I've spent a lot of my life and my career fitting in. Used to straighten my hair, used to not wear colour. I'd wear black all the time. In fact, my husband and I, when we first got together, he said to me, he goes, "Do you ever wear anything other than black?" And I'm like, "No, not really. I just want to kind of fit in, and it feels comfortable, and it's fine, because, you know, I just go on and do my thing." Slowly, when I left school and then went to university, I went the other way. So I did a Bachelor of Technology, and I ended up going to university, and I would walk barefoot through the campus. I would wear lots of colour. But it was interesting because I would dabble in it, and then people would, or I would feel potentially, that I was too much, that I was too loud, that I was too colourful, that I potentially was too successful, because I was doing really well and I got offered honours in the end, and it was probably mostly self-imposed, but felt that I was too much. So I pulled that back in. And through that time, my parents separated as well, which was a massive change in my life. So just after school, just before the end of year 12. And so that was a massive change in trying to keep people happy around me and trying to fit in. And so, yeah, it's been a journey, and I don't think there's been one particular thing that has caused me, it has to actually live my why, but it's been more a process of how do I want to show up in the world? How do I feel when I show up in a particular way? What are the things that I love doing? What are the things that light me up? When I show up in a particular way, what's the response that I get? And does that feel good or does it not feel good? And I love that you're talking about feeling, because it is, for me, everything is about feeling. Sorry, throat chakra's not working properly. So as we journey through life, I think we can either choose to embody who we are, or we can choose to fit in and coast along, and that's fine. But my why has been, every time I've shown up authentically as I've got older and really stood in that power, people have really resonated with it, because it's given them the opportunity to then be who they are. And it's that real acceptance and that meeting of energies of, I see you. I don't just see the outside of you, but I see you. I feel you. I know you, and it's okay. And I think when we can do that for ourselves, and then we can put that out into the world, then it allows other people that privilege as well to be able to do that and be who they want to be in the world. And so that's where it's kind of stemmed from, I suppose, on the journey to now turning up to just being like that literally every day of my life now. I am me so that you can be you.
I love it. I love it. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And, you know, as you were speaking, I was just nodding my head on the inside. And I feel like a lot of people watching and listening will also resonate with the too much story, you know, the being too much. So let's just temper it down. Like, let's just keep a lid on this, and let's try and fit in, because, you know, essentially human beings, we all want to feel a sense of love and belonging.
Yeah.
You know, and as I mentioned before, that defined G center is like, will you accept me? Because we want to belong.
Yeah.
Right. But am I too much for you?
Yeah.
Can you accept all of me?
Yeah.
And so, but again, that we're all born into this world with a purpose, and, you know, we grow it. My belief anyway is we grow into our purpose through our life experience. And so particularly your profile. So your profile is the 1-3. They're those numbers. And essentially it's like the two sides of your personality. You know, not saying you've got a split personality, but it's kind of
maybe
like
some days. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Depends on the day.
Exactly. Depends what sort of hot mess I'm in.
That's exactly right. Who am I today? Who do I want to be?
But it's like, it's actually the conscious and unconscious sides of our personality, and human design teaches that, you know, we have a conscious life story that we or a conscious purpose that we live, and also there's an unconscious life story that's happening for us. But essentially when we can combine our soul self and our human self and synthesize those, is when we're able to really fulfill our purpose. And so, you know, the 1-3, essentially, like the one, it's interesting you said before that you're not into details. Like, you got that report and you're just like, yeah. And my sense is it's like you generally learn the things, like intellectually, right? And you're like, give me all the things. I want to know about it. Like, I want to get in under this. Yeah. And it's like you have this insatiable curiosity, particularly with something that you're really passionate about. It's like,
that's so true. Yeah, I do.
Give it to me now.
Yeah, I want to dive in and roll around in it.
Yeah. Oh my God, I could picture it. So when you said that, I'm like, So the 3 line is then actually, okay, well, all that stuff that I've logically and intellectually learned, I'm going to go test it. Yes. So that's like I want to roll around in it. I want to try it, you know, put this on and try it on. because the 3 line is about adventure, the being in the school of life, you know, and you get a lot of experiences, but combining those 2 together really then gives you the way in which you then get to give back.
Yes.
From your genius. You know, you've learnt the stuff, you've experimented with the stuff, you've putting it together, and here's this really beautiful way that you can do the world, people. So I love it. And so I just want to shift to, you've mentioned a little bit about your career. And, you know, working in the executive world, and then you moved into entrepreneurship as well at the, you know, not just one, but let's do 2.
Yeah. Why not? I've got all the time in the world, haven't I? Yeah. Around 2 children and a husband. Sure.
Well, generators, you're alchemists, right? You can you take something that you love and you make it even more beautiful, more serviceable, more meaningful for others. You love doing that, right?
Yeah,
so I think, you know, but you went from the executive corporate world, HR specialist, to becoming a happiness coach.
Yeah.
And a kindness ambassador, and a breathwork facilitator, and a women's circle facilitator.
Yeah. Yes.
You know, like, I love it.
Yes. It's so not aligned, and yet it's so aligned.
Exactly. So I'd love you to speak to that piece, because you encapsulated it perfectly. It's so not aligned, yet it is. Yeah. So I'd love you to, speak into that.
Of course. I would love to. This is where you'll be like, stop talking, because I'll just talk all day. I love it. Go. Okay, timing. Your time starts now. It's finished. Stop. No. So being in HR, which I love, that's why I still work in it, because I'm literally a human. I just need other humans, because I love getting to know the other human and what makes them tick and what makes them excited, and then working with them to create something, as you said, more beautiful for them. Working in the aged care sector, so I worked for 7 years in aged care, and as you know, COVID hit that sector exceptionally hard, and it's still not, you know, we're not through the jungle yet. What I saw through that time, and slightly before it, and it was kind of heading that way, but then COVID obviously just went wham, here you go, like all the best, see how you can survive. I saw leaders really, really putting everything they had in their tank and some into making sure their teams were still, you know, keeping them afloat, supporting them mentally and emotionally, covering rosters that were not able to be filled because people were, you know, off with COVID, or potentially, or being tested, or had some other thing going on in their life which prevented them from coming into work. So I saw a lot of leaders really burning out, but still going. So, and myself included. So being in HR, you are often the go-to person. I was the only HR person within this company. And I knew, and I still keep in touch with a lot of the staff, actually, because they're just amazing. I was the go-to for a lot of people who needed to offload some of their emotions around what they were going through, or to amend rosters, or to take leave, or to really just have a chat with a human, or just sit in my office and do nothing. What I saw through that process as well was the new aged care accreditation standards be brought in. And through that period, the stress levels and the expectation on what was to be delivered and the time frame in which it needed to be delivered was super difficult, because to be able to adjust an entire accreditation system and then have COVID and keep people alive, which really at the end of the day, that had to be the priority, keeping your residents alive. And I kept seeing these people and going, oh, you're not taking care of yourself. You don't realize you're running so low below empty that what you're bringing into the office and the workplace is actually not your optimum performance. My husband's also a police officer. So through that time and through the past, we've been together 12, 13 years now. Through that period of time, I saw him really struggled with showing up to be a whole human at work, and to the point where he was compartmentalizing trauma until he had no compartments left, and it was just spilling out into everything that he was doing, and he got quite unwell. So really, where it stemmed from was this deep-seated need in me to support people as whole humans within workplaces. What I was doing externally, my own healing modalities, and I always have done, forms of meditation. I've always been a barefoot walker, not really known why until maybe the last 5 years, why I love it so much. Now I do. My whole family, I've even converted my husband, which was no easy feat, no pun intended.
But gratefully received.
I know. I was like, yeah, I received that. Yeah. What I was doing on the external in my own life, I thought, why couldn't this work in a workplace? Because the person I was out of work, I'm the same person when I come to work. And if I'm not, why not? And if these people are coming into the workplace and not being whole humans, why is the workplace not supporting them to be whole humans? And so my passion really then, well, it kind of was just on fire then. Then I was like, what can I do? Oh, this is beautiful. Sorry, it's just a beautiful honeyeater just by the window there that just flew past then. What can I put out into the world that I know works for me, and that I can try and create that sense of well-being, mental health, support, love, kindness, all the things that make us this beautiful mixture of a human, and how can I support that within workplaces? And so really it morphed from, I want to do leadership programs, because I was like, but then it didn't kind of go, it didn't feel right. I was a bit like, nah, that's too dry. Do I look like I just do leadership program? No, I don't. So I thought, right, well, what do I do? What do I love? What do people tell me that I'm good at and that I put out into the world, and what makes them feel good when they're around me? And people just kept coming back with the word kindness and love and happiness. And I'm like, people say, are you like a ray of sunshine? And I said, not all the time. Absolutely not. And my children would attest to that, and my husband. But what can I inject into workplaces that brings the happiness, that brings the kindness, that brings the joy, that then gives people within that workplace the ability to take some of that home and do that at home in their own time? Or what can workplaces implement to actually support that within the workplace to keep their people well or more well? And that's where it really started. And that's where I'm at.
I love it. So what other sorts of things then that when you're working with, and well, interesting, just to give you a little bit of background, I actually used to be a registered nurse working in aged care.
Of course you were. And therein lies the synchronicities. There you go. Right? You're amazing. Yeah. P.S. I'd just like to say to all the nurses and aged care workers and any healthcare workers, you guys, honestly, I couldn't do the work that you guys do. You're amazing. Absolutely amazing. The most intimate support and love and kindness that you show other humans at end of life care. I mean, what a privilege and what an amazing thing to do.
Yeah, you're right. It's pretty incredible work. I stopped nursing, oh my gosh, probably 10 years ago. 10 years ago now. Burnout for
Funny
sure.
That.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think disillusionment at because part of actually my main role was doing the paperwork for the funding. And I got really disillusioned about we're losing the human in this.
Yes, because you're talking about continence, you're talking about, mobility, you're talking about how many times do they need assistance? What are they eating? Do they need a speech pathologist? Do they need a specialist? And I agree.
And I think, I think it was the justifying why you needed to spend a certain amount of hours for this person who is you know, and I was involved in palliative care a lot. You know, it just, anyway.
I get it. I feel you. You don't even need to vet. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
It's heavy.
And, you know, I moved through different areas of nursing as well. So yeah, I was enjoying yet another connection of why we're in love with each other.
Of course.
But so when you're working with these beautiful people in these roles that they do, and as I say, what I'm hearing you say is, and I heard you say quite a few times, how do I bring my whole human self into the workplace as well? And, you know, again, that really speaks to my philosophy of being fully expressed. You know, if I'm fully expressed, I'm being all of me. And so what are the types of things that you do with people to help them create that for themselves?
It's a process. So I actually did a workshop with a group of beautiful speech pathologists last week, and I just, it's the best. But two things we actually, we start with our values, and not just values at work. So not just workplace values. It's what are my values? So my top 3, my top 5 values from a list that I cannot live without. And the discussion around your values. So what we did is what I do in my workshops is I actually get everyone to go around, pick out their top values. And then on the board, I actually wrote up everybody's values and to see which ones were overlapping. And then we picked out what were the top themes as humans working within a workplace. What are our collective top few values? And what I find is so interesting in these workshops is people go, oh my gosh, we're only quite a small team, but look how many different values we've got. Look at what you value and look at what I value. And we only overlap on this one value over here. So when I'm showing up to work and you're behaving in a particular way, I kind of get it because I understand who you are at your core better. I understand that you might need structure. You might have fairness. You might have creativity. You might have family. You might have luck. Like you might have money. That was a really interesting topic. Nobody had money, but we did have a discussion around what would happen if one of us had the top value as money. How would that make us feel? And that can often make us feel a bit ick, can't it? Talking about money and talking about abundance and talking about being successful and standing in our power and really showing up and succeeding in all of us, in all of our, whatever we are and whatever we want to show up as. So we start with that values assessment, and that really sets the groundwork for having a discussion around, right, well then if my core values are over here and yours are over here and we have this collective core value, how can we show up as who we are and being true to ourselves on our values, even if they're on opposite sides, to then achieve what we have as a core group collective theme or value. And so then we have a discussion around, what are some of the activities? What are some of the ways within the workplace that we could potentially have these discussions of, I need this, could you ask it in this possible way? I'm going to go and do this. So when I'm doing this, perhaps don't see me as being under your value, but this is why I'm behaving in this particular way. So we spend a lot of time on values, and I love it. I love values assessments. They're so interesting. Because it's really learning about who they are as humans and how they interact with each other on that level. Then we do some boundary setting exercises, and that can get super heavy. And I love it because I dive into it and I go, right, how does
now we're getting somewhere.
I do, I'm like, what? And I do ease them in, don't worry. I don't just go, woo, let's work on boundaries and saying no, because it's amazing. We have the chat around, what does the word no make you feel when you say just the word no and nothing else? And so we do some role playing. We do some discussions, and I feel that those two, and this is just in a workshop, but obviously with my leadership, and I do call it a leadership, but it's a kindness and connection leadership program. through that program, I take them through particular modules which actually work on balancing your values with how you show up, having some tools and some modalities to be able to bring you as you are with all your values and stay as aligned as you can when you're having interactions with other humans. So yeah, there's a lot in it, but I love it. Like I guess I just love seeing humans standing in who they are and showing up as they are, but also people who are caring humans, who are taking care often of vulnerable people, showing up as who they are, but also protecting who they are a little bit as well, and retaining some of that for themselves. So yeah, so we dive into that. It's a bit, isn't it?
So juicy. And, you know, what's really interesting is, like, as soon as you said, I start with values, I'm like, yeah, me too. Like in my work, any group program I do, I run as a circle. Yeah, and beautiful. You know, I am a women's circle trainer as well, and so like teaching people how to be a leader of others absolutely has to start with values, you know. Yes. And then, of course, the boundaries piece, yes, that comes in, and yes, that gets icky and all the things. And as you were speaking and everything you were saying, I was like, oh my gosh, I think you'd love human design. I think you'd love it. Like all those things you were talking about, like when I look at someone's human design chart, I'm like, oh, right, yeah, this is how they need to be communicated with. This is what, you know, they're going to feel is really important to them. This is going to be their hurt place, you know, their wounding. And I think, you know, like part of my global domination, or it's not global domination, but, you know, part of the ripple effect. Yeah. Let's go with revolution.
Yeah. And you know what? I like ripple effect's great, but I feel like revolution, it's like me with my kindness revolution. Let's just create these revolutions. Yeah. I mean, we already are. Let's just keep saying it.
Exactly. But I would love to, I'd love to imagine a world where everyone knew about human design, and even like in the corporate world, knowing about human design, because human design is essentially a blueprint of remembering the truth of who you are.
Beautiful.
You know, and so as you as the leader, remembering the truth of who you are and looking at your team through the lens of human design and Gene Keys, and they work together, is pretty fantastic. So I'm just totally vibing on what you're saying.
I know, actually, as you were saying that, I was thinking how, you know, even from like looking at it from an analytical perspective of human resources and how we hire and how we develop and how we bring on the journey, if we know who humans are at their core level, how much easier would that be potentially to run your team and to achieve the outcome? It just makes sense.
It totally makes sense, you know, like, and so say I can give you a real world example of, so my human design type is a projector. And so we make up 22% of the population.
You're quite rare, aren't you?
As a self-projector, yeah, about 2% of the population. So it's, but projectors and, so there's the generators and the manifesting generators, and so you babes make up 70% of the population. Then we have the projectors, and we have the manifestors and the reflectors. Reflectors are like 1%, so they're ultra unicorn. And human design teaches us that we all have a role to play in the cosmic plan of the evolution of humanity.
Yes.
And so, you know, as I say, the generators, the mavens, you're here to be so like cultivate and be devoted to your passion. And so you love to be the best, right?
Yeah, I do.
You want to be the best, and you are just going to be like a dog with a bone.
Yeah, maybe.
You're going to,
I have no idea what you're talking about right now. No.
And so, but then you have like your manifesting generators who they're like generators, but actually they're more multifaceted, and they have the ability to be, and when I say multifaceted, it's not that you're one-dimensional, but manifesting generators are designed to have lots of things on the go at once. Right. And they're like shame trigger is why can't I just focus on one thing?
Interesting. So they feel scattered.
Well, they can feel scattered until they really align with the way in which they respond to what is correct for them. They can tend to want to have a lot of things on the go. Yep. And they have the ability to have multiple things on the go, but they get often, and this is generalizing, but they can say yes to too many things. Right. But they're actually designed to go into something, pull the best bits out, pop it in their basket, go into the next thing, pull the best things out, put it in their basket. It's like, right. I just imagine they go in and they collect the gold from all the things, they put it in their basket.
I was going to say cauldron. Why did I go to cauldron?
Well,
I don't know.
Because I'm
like a bit witchy. I was like, bring in the witchy.
Well, I was going to say the melting pot, like it is the cauldron. You know, yeah. It is. Because what they then do is they make things happen better and faster. Like right. That's their role. Right. And so they're like, why can't I focus on one thing? Why won't I finish what I started? Because they're not always designed to finish what they start. But right. So then
that would be super frustrating.
Yeah. Well, and see, generators would get really frustrated with many gens. Be like, why don't you just complete it?
Yeah, just get it done.
Yeah. Just and for God's sakes.
I know, you can see me already going. Yeah.
Well, interestingly, you also have one of your centers called the will center. It's also called the heart center or the ego center. But the will center is a center for motivation, and you have it defined. And 1 in 8 people have it defined. Now, what that means is you naturally have the energy to set a goal, complete a goal, and you're done.
Yeah.
Right. And you're like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Why can't you do that?
What? No, I never do that. Why can't you just do that? Come on, it's easy.
Yeah, like just set a goal, do it. But those of us mere mortals who don't have that defined are like, well, I'd really like to, but yeah, no can do.
So enlightening, actually. That's really enlightening, because I often do go, I don't understand why you're finding this so hard. I really don't, when I'm doing sort of almost that goal setting of changing, even within a workplace, but, you know, within programs. How do you then understand, and I love this, because how do you then have the awareness and the understanding of the other people that you're working with and for and who you're serving, to not then put what you are onto them, but to understand what they need to you know, thrive.
Absolutely. And so then say, for example, a projector, me, I am, my role in the cosmic plan, or projector's role in the cosmic plan, is to lead and guide others. Right. So we're the visionaries. We can see what works and what doesn't work, and we want to tell you about it. But our aura and our energy means we have to be invited to share that wisdom.
Right. Interesting.
And so, as a, you know, if you have projectors in the room, they're going to know so much, but they might either speak too much because they're really wanting to be heard because no one's been listening to me for my whole entire life, or they're going to be quiet because they're like, no one's going to want to hear what I have to say.
That's so interesting.
You know,
so it's often your quieter.
Yeah, it's the facilitator. Then if you're facilitating groups and you know you've got projectors in the room, you can refer to them. Projectors, do we need a break? You know, and projectors, I'd love to hear what you've got to say about this. Yeah. What are your insights? You know, and then the projectors are just sitting there going, melting it up. I feel so seen. Gosh, I'd love to share my wisdom. Thank you.
And I'd love to just talk for ages on that. No.
Me, is the mic on?
Yeah. You know? I love that. I wonder if, so quick question.
Yes.
Can you intuitively know or be aware of someone's human design. Like, what am I trying to say? I feel like when I am with humans, I will intuitively, not all the time, I will intuitively pick up on how they're feeling. Is that my human design, or is that something that you can intuitively do?
Yes, and is the answer to
Yes,
that.
but.
Not a but, it's a yes,
No?
and.
Okay.
Because there's I believe, and certainly my sense of it is when I'm with someone, I can sense what type they are. From an energetic, I can feel it. I can because as the projector and as a self-projector, there's a resonance I feel. But talking about your particular human design, you have an emotional authority, which means you technically, in human design speak, it means you're not an empath. However, I think people can get too hung up on that because of course you can empathize with others. Of course you can feel it. Your emotional authority is, so in human design, authority is how we best make decisions for us. And so you're heavily influenced by is this going to be good for my people, for the tribe? Like your decision making is very much is this the right relationship? Is this, am I going to, be able to provide the right resources for these people? Because you deeply care about providing for the community, your tribe, your people.
So true.
And you also have your spleen center defined, which is the home of intuition and instinct. So you have a readily available resonance, that comes to you as intuition. And again, I love pulling apart the meanings of words. But intuition, we all have it. We all experience it a different way. So even so I don't have my spleen center defined, yet I'm very intuitive. So, so that's why it's a yes and, because I think it comes down to our individual ways in which we be in the world. And I would say it's very much calibrated through your own level of self-awareness and your own level of self-love, self-acceptance. To be so in tune with you is only going to allow you to be in tune with those around you, because you've honed that skill, Does that make sense?
It does, yeah. I was really fascinated because intuition for me, that's actually part of, people, when I take people through the program, in connecting with your intuition is actually part of it. And so I was interested to see, because it's quite funny you say about the wanting to be for the people, thinking of the people. So my HBDI brain, which is an assessment, is actually strategy. So strategic thinking, blue sky thinking, and emotional, so people. And so that's really interesting when you look at it from a workforce or workplace perspective, being able to combine these, not tests, but these assessments. Modalities, of who are we as a complete human, brain, body, soul, what were we born here to do, but then also adding in those other more traditional psychological tests and assessments would be fascinating. And this is where my brain, because you know how I said to you about details, this is where my brain does go, this is amazing. And then I'm like, I'll just go down the rabbit hole of that. I feel like from a workplace perspective, if people are truly connected who they are, which is part of what I do, but then also if we know from a human design perspective who we were born to be.
Yes.
And then combining I know, right? I'm just having this moment.
Yeah.
Like, that's so powerful.
Yeah, it is incredibly powerful.
Because look what you could create. The experience, the employee experience and the customer service experience from that. Oh.
I know. I'm the same. I'm the same, right? Especially as a projector. So if you think about it's interesting we've gone into this,
I know.
But I'm going with it. I love it. But thinking of one of the reasons why I got burned out in the workplace is because, again, as a projector, I have the ability to get 8 hours of work done in 3 hours when I am locked on and I'm focused. But in order for me to do that, I spend all that other time deeply in self-care.
Yeah.
Eating well, sleeping well, nourishing myself, nourishing my soul, because cosmically, I'm integrating on a cosmic level everything else that's going on as well, integrating. So there's a lot of stuff that projectors do that isn't seen. And so to then show up in a workplace 9 to 5, really difficult.
And be expected to be on.
Yeah.
Really and particularly difficult. When you think about the career that you chose with nursing, it's not just your 9 to 5, it's potentially all the shift work. So how are you then able to keep, so from my husband's perspective, not knowing what his human design is, but, from showing up on a 24/7 rotating roster, and then you add in caregiving, you add in trauma, you add in stress into the bucket, how much better could you design a workplace knowing the humans that you're designing that workplace for?
Yes, please.
Stop it.
Start a project, invite me on it. Let's do it.
No, seriously. I'm like, my mind is just, it's going where yours is going, I think. Why are we not designing, oh my gosh, why are we not designing the workplace and the workforce to be one design that then it can adapt and grow and be flexible around the humans who are within that workplace? Oh,
I know. It's like this whole brave new world. Yes, please.
But this is the thing. It's big, and it's big. Like, people say to me, oh my gosh, I can't believe you think you can change workplaces to be kind. And I'm like, yeah, I can. Not all of them, but I can create the ripple effect to do that. Why can't I start it? What's stopping me? Nothing. I mean, lots, but I'm here for it. Oh, it's so exciting.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And we've gone over time.
I know, but like in a beautiful way, right? In a beautiful way. And it's really interesting that you just said the ripple effect. And you've said that a few times, because that is, definitely part of my lingo. And so again, basically best friends and
basically love you. Yeah. I'm here for it.
So as we do draw to a close, I didn't even get to, first of all, I actually want to say this, right? I know, and I knew it was going to go on for a while, but I really wanted to say that as I was doing my research for our interview today, like the list of awards that you have won is just incredible. And I wrote down, like, 2022 seems to be the year of awards for you, Sophie.
It was big. I know. What happened? I don't know.
Wow. It was really, really beautiful. And if you can, really briefly, because I really wanted to know, what was the most meaningful one for you to receive?
So I didn't win them all. So I was a finalist in a lot of them.
Basically winning then. I mean,
I'll take the win, I'll take the win in the top 5. That's so good.
But in all honesty, like, it's a really amazing thing to be nominated and be a finalist. Even the nomination is such an acknowledgement.
I know.
It's amazing.
And I don't want to downplay any of them, because each of them are amazing in their own way and for what each of the awards stand for.
Yeah.
But I have to admit, the one that came as the biggest shock was the Woman to Watch award. And I was in like the top group of them, but the nomination came from like somebody who I didn't even realize felt that way. And so, I get a bit emotional about it. what I feel and what I have felt and what I continue to do, because I've actually just been nominated for another award, a Global Women Changing the World Awards.
Amazing.
And it's the same feel. It came through like a day ago. It's this,
wow.
It's this feeling of I am seen. So it comes back to my why. And you know, the award process is it's amazing, and it's awesome, and people go, oh, I don't need an award to feel amazing. You know what? Bullshit. We all feel amazing if someone nominates us firstly. So I make an effort to nominate people I think should be part of particular awards, because that feeling of going, somebody sees me, that all my hard work, all those late nights, all those hours of doing what I want to do, other people are noticing. And that is important, I think, that people, you know, that you feel like what you're doing is making a difference to the world. So the Women to Watch Awards are put on by Beam magazine, and Beck, who runs it, is just like an epic human being. I don't even know how she does what she does. She's got like 1,000 children, slight exaggeration, but she has a lot going on. And honestly, like the way she champions other women in business and really lifts them up to be seen, to be heard, to be celebrated. And the awards night was just a beautiful celebration. And the people who won, because there were like 10, like in the top 10, oh my God, I was like, I am so honored even just to be in this room with these amazing women who are literally making such huge impact to other people's lives. So that one really hit home, mainly because I hadn't been involved in those awards before, and it was a beautiful experience, but also not downplaying the other amazing experiences I had with the other business awards as well. So really, it was an amazing year last year.
Oh yeah, well, congratulations, and congratulations on the most recent nomination.
Thank you.
For the global revolution. Right?
What is happening?
It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And
thank you.
So yeah, as we actually do draw to a close now, the final question I had written down for you, and you've already spoken to it a bit, so you can just give a little synopsis, and the wording is interesting because you've used it quite a bit, but it was like, what is the ripple effect that you want to see in the world?
I want to see people learn how to be more kind to themselves so that they can be kinder to others. It's really at the crux of it.
I feel that really, really deeply. And I would love to reflect back to you that it seems to me that you are that ripple effect, and you are creating that. And I just, celebrate and acknowledge you, and thank you for the work that you do. Thank you for being your fully expressed diva and creating your revolution on the planet. And I'm so excited that we've taken our love affair and BFF status public.
I love it. And it's out now. We're out. No hiding.
And once again, Sophie, so just for those of you listening and watching, in the show notes, I will definitely be putting down Sophie's contact details so that you can go ahead and follow her on her social places and her website. So Sophie's business name is Mettaleaders, METTA Leaders, and you can find her at Mettaleaders on Instagram. And fall in love with her there, and go and just go check her out, because she's just hot. And as I say, those contact details will be in the show notes. And is there anything else you wanted to say before we sign off today?
I just wanted to say how super grateful I am that the universe brought us together in such an unusual way as well. But who we're meant to meet, we're meant to meet. And I'm just really grateful that we have found each other and have been able to potentially create an even bigger ripple effect with the world together. So thank you. And thank you for having me. It's been so fun and so thought-provoking and emotion-provoking in a good way. So thank you.
I love it. I love it. Music to my ears. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for listening today and watching as well. And the invitation for you all is to create your own ripple effect, be part of the Diva Revolution, be part of the kindness revolution, be that fully expressed version of yourself so you can live, love, and lead on purpose. And on that note, I'd love to say to us all to have a divalicious day. You've been listening to the Diva Revolution podcast. If you loved this episode, this is your invitation to be part of the ripple effect. Simply subscribe, rate, and review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever else you tune in. Thank you, and have a divalicious day.